Hey everybody, it's Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong. I hope you can hear me okay. It's really hot, so the air conditioner is going out here. I've just finished up 4 journals and they're similar to the one I listed yesterday. I'm going to take just a few minutes and explain the structure of each one, and then I will go through the covers. They're going to be listed. There's a link to each one on my website. And then I will flip through each one quickly because I don't want this to turn into a really long video. This one is called Betsy's Adventure because it's got the little girl on the front, old-fashioned. I think Betsy is a perfect name for that. It's very similar to yesterday, as in it is built with a file folder and then covered with layers of fabric. The second one is called the Victorian Garden because it's got this beautiful pink fabric on the outside. This great big sort of pinky salmon colored bow. That is the blanket trim that I stained and then dried on the clothesline. And then we have the Bohemian Flower Girl. It has the image on the front like yesterday. I know several of you liked that. I only had enough fabric to do 2 more of these. I will do some more at some point in the future, but this is all I could do today. And then the Bohemian Flower Girl, we have a second one. So they're all about 92 to 96 pages, you know, counting front and back. The pages are folded to make one signature. They all have beautiful glass beads on the outside. They're all tied with some sort of vintage trim or ribbon. This one has got the beautiful rose trim. I purchased that recently. I don't know if that's a millinery trim. It's a little bit stiff, but I like that because it just ties really nicely. It doesn't slip around. You can see the beads on the front. We have this, the lace, the doily. There's my stamp on the back and just some pretty fabric. So getting inside, I'm just gonna flip. It is a mix of pages. You can see the buttons in the front here and a beautiful piece of that fabric that I found, the sample to make a pocket in this one. There's one of those Virginia Slims greeting cards, the 12 Avenues of Bliss. And then, oops, I'm pulling something off the table over here. So while I flip, I will just tell you, a lot of this is vintage. There's a vintage print. I have included some ephemera that's paper clipped to the pages or either tucked into the pockets. There's a beautiful old map. That's a huge old map print that was cut down. There is not really any distressing in here, so I'm leaving that for you to do. A lot of beautiful eclectic pages. I did make a pocket in each one with one of the little paintings that I did when I was practicing faces. Gotta get back to that. Vintage calendar page, just really, really botanical, sort of bohemian, Victorian. It's a mix of things. These are old book pages. And then in the center, we've got this beautiful page that came from April at Pink Oddbird. That is a page that I purchased from her Etsy shop. So just flipping onto the back here, and you can see just bits and pieces of ephemera I thought you might want to work with. And again, I'm leaving all the distressing to you. There are a few things in that little pocket there. That's an old print. And then back here we have a really neat old photograph. It looks like there's a skyline there, or a, what do you call that? Like a view of a city over some water. And then just a piece of distressed paper. And that is a piece of wallpaper here to make that page and pocket. And let's see, I don't want to miss any pages. And this is absolutely beautiful. That's aged that way. I did not do that. It's some sort of Asian text, absolutely beautiful. I don't know how old that is. And then there's just a pretty card that you can write on. So that is Betsy's Adventure. And let me tie this back up. A lot of these journals, I've made journals like this in the past and done Journal With Me series with a lot of different ideas and things that you can do in the journals. So I will try to find that and link that series of things. So here's some glass beads, the Victorian garden. You see this beautiful piece of fabric on the front. There's my stamp on the back. Again, that's the blanket trim. And then getting in here, there's some vintage fabric on the inside and just layers of different cottons, muslins, and different kinds of trim. There are some buttons there. I do want to say that I like the raveled edges, and I do sew around several times to try to prevent fraying. I try to use fabrics that don't just completely fall apart because I know that you need to work in them. But journals are also not like clothing or blankets or something we're going to be pulling out all the time. So I don't find it to be a problem at all. You can also take a glue that dries clear, go around the edge of your journal if you want to make sure that it's not going to do any more unraveling. But journals are meant to be worked in. They are meant to be loved, and just you make them your own. There's wallpaper there, little book pages, all sorts of things in here. Wallpaper, some fancy paper there, a book page, and then there's another piece of that beautiful scrapbook paper. I love that. So flipping right on through. It has been so hot today. It's been really hot out here. I normally don't feel it so much. There's a little book page and one of the flowers, the pages from the book about roses, and scrapbook paper. Lots of beautiful pages. I love that page from April. And then there's a vintage photograph. That is adorable. And just a piece of scrapbook paper. You could go through and make pockets in here. You can do flip out pages. You know, I love to take masking tape and create more room by just, and that's pretty. That's from April as well, a digital kit that I bought, and a little envelope there. But you can make flip out pages and just continue to add to these journals. And then when you're done, it's just a masterpiece of different layers and collage and keepsakes, journaling, writing, painting, whatever you want it to be. So that is the Victorian garden. Now, to distinguish, so we've got two of these, the Bohemian Flower Girl. One has the little purple flower and one has the blue flower. So I will list them that way. There's going to be a picture of each cover. You can see that fabric on the front, little piece of lace here. There is some pretty pink fabric on the back with my stamp. And then on this one, we have a little table, like a tabletop doily. It's got a rectangle shape. And then getting inside, we have some of that sample that I bought, but also some other fabric to make a pocket all the way across. And I'm just gonna flip again. There's one stamp in here, and then a pocket. This is a file folder, and it's taped to the pocket with the little artwork that I did to make a full-size page. So you can glue over that or do whatever you want to. There's one of those pieces of paper with the writing, and another pocket. That's wallpaper there, and some old book pages. There's a page of birds from an old bird book. That's a photocopy of the letter about the cotton gin from the 1800s. And there's a page from the old songbook, and just an envelope for that. I think negatives and photos used to come in. And there's a black sheet of paper. I love to write on these with the white gel pens. I know we all do, but that's one reason I try to include at least one of those. Some pretty wallpaper there, and the old book page, and that's some pretty wallpaper. Book pages, and then scrapbook paper. And then at the center, we've got this fancy pink paper with the fibers in it, and then just a little image that I cut from an old book. I love paper. I love paper crafting. I mean, I think I could just stay out here 24 hours a day. Oh, well, I do get tired, but you know, it's just so much fun to put these things together, and paper is just amazing. So there's just a little cutout with some coffee cups and a pretty old greeting card, and that's some pretty wallpaper. There's the other half of that letter, and then there's the little pocket with the artwork, an envelope, that pretty speckled paper. This photograph is so much fun. Look at the girl sitting in the chair on the balcony over the water. I would love to know where this is. That's just awesome. And then we have one of the Virginia Slims cards, and then this card. So this one with the blue flower is the Bohemian Flower Girl 1. I guess the one yesterday is really 1, but for today we're going to call this one 1. And now let's get to this one. So very similar. It's got this beautiful vintage trim to tie it. Beautiful glass beads. There's my stamp on the back, and you can see that on this one is a larger table scarf. It goes all the way across. So, and then it's got that image on the front on the fabric. Getting inside, there are buttons, and then just a few things in this front pocket. There's the vintage fabric, and then this vintage fabric to make a pocket. So there's the speckled paper and a page from the bird book. That's an old print, absolutely beautiful. And a piece of the paper with the writing, and an old calendar page. There's some bond paper and graph paper and a print. There's the old map and a library card, and then the little pocket there. And here's a pocket with a card, and then some homemade paper. I didn't make that, it's beautiful. And then here is a neat old photograph. Some children out in a yard. I think it was near a school, because there were some other pictures with this, and they are holding the American flag. And then just a pretty little picture in here. I put a paper clip on there because that pocket's big enough to hold quite a bit, and I didn't want that sliding around or falling out. And then a pretty piece of wallpaper on that page, old print, and a little card there, some scrapbook paper. That's pretty. So when you work in these journals, feel free to tape things, to cut things, to add things. If you want to glue more trim on here, and there's one of the Virginia Slim cards, and that's just a pretty little piece of fabric with the mushrooms. But you know, if you want to glue more trim and just really bling it out, if you want to glue little buttons or cabochons or just anything, you know, safety pin more things to it, add your own ties, that's what these journals are for. So that's what the Bohemian Flower Girl number 2 is. Got the little purple flower. There's Bohemian Flower Girl 1, and then there's the Victorian Garden, and here is Betsy's Adventure. So they're all 4 listed. Thank you so much for watching, for your support. I appreciate it so very much. I will be back out here tomorrow creating again, and hopefully have some creative videos for you. Thank you so much. Bye for now.